Matt, in recent times, I've been doing this simulcast gimmick where we're on Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's kind of confusing, but not so much so that it breaks the show. So today, I thought I'd ramp it up a level by posting a link, leaving it up for 20 minutes, then posting another link, only to delete the first link, leaving many people confused as to what is happening, what is the Holbert House show, what is the Late Night Grin. We don't have the answers to those questions, right? We're just here to ask more questions. So
Right.
here we are. We hope everyone understands what's happening. We don't. We hope you do. We're here for the Late Night Grin. The confirmed shoot has returned from FTR country, Greensboro, North Carolina. He's back. We're going to talk some Revolution, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. It was a interesting weekend. Incredible pay-per-view. For anyone confused, I don't work house shows, so I mean that's really all there is to it. But yeah, we'll get into the pay-per-view. Greensboro itself was remarkably boring.
That's what I hear, yeah.
No disrespect to Greensboro, because I will be very transparent in that I didn't put much effort into making it not boring.
Yeah. It seemed like Chuck had fun.
Yeah.
She's young though. She's enjoying the, it's different, right? It's different.
Right. Yeah. Like
normally, you just want to talk raps. Normally, right? That's
yeah.
trips.
I'm 42 years old. I can't.
Yeah.
Be out till 4:00 in the morning, and
it would have been incredible though if I got a text at like 9 a.m. my time. I'm still out.
So that was like the plan at one point. Is like we were gonna meet up after the show, and then Adrian and I are still in the parking lot, and I realized that it's 1 a.m. and we're still in the parking lot. We haven't got out of the And then it was like nothing's open in Greensboro.
Of course.
So we ended up going to Sheets. For anyone watching that's familiar with Sheets, I know Joe's not. Got some food and went back to the hotel room and ate. And she went to sleep immediately. And I,
did tough, some. Bro. It's a long show. But you did some tweeting, right? Did some catching up with friends, don't you?
Did some nice reflective tweeting. Got real emotional about the stinger.
I got emotional about it, and I wasn't there. And like, we're not going to do, folks, for anyone who's new to the Late Night Grin, firstly, God bless you. Secondly, we're not going to do like match by match, because it's like, matches will come up, we'll talk about them, and we'll just go all over the place. But I mentioned this on Worldwide. Like, this was the kind of show, and more specifically, the kind of main event that makes you like, or makes me, and I think you're somewhat there also, it makes you like reflect on your fandom in a weird way, right? It makes you like think about wrestling and like the part it's played in your life and all that. You get kind of heavy with it. I don't know.
I mean, I've talked about it some on the show, and I think you know it. I've been there anyway.
Yeah.
Like before this, like the last few months, basically since AEW got good again. When the Continental Classic started, and they quit trying to be something they're not, and it's like, I'm just going to enjoy this ride for however long it lasts.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and say everything's perfect and it's all sunshine and rainbows, but at the same time, when I'm enjoying things, I don't really see the point in nitpicking and getting, worked up about things. Obviously there's always things you do differently. There's always things, like not everything on the show hit last night. There were a couple pretty big misses, I thought. It didn't matter overall, but
there's also wrestling shows, right? I think there's I saw, I think it was, I don't want to name the account because I could be wrong, but someone described the show as a home run. And there was a reply being like, home run with that scramble match. And it's like, brother, this is how wrestling tapes are, man. I mean, it's like, there's certainly some pay-per-views that have no misses. And if you didn't think this was a home run, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But like, it's kind of part of US wrestling history. There's going to be some shitty matches on the pay-per-view card. I mean,
look, I tweeted this when the match was going on. That scramble match was every scramble match ever.
Yeah.
If to do a scramble match and have it be good would be honestly disrespectful to the legacy of the scramble match.
Agreed. And independent wrestling as a whole.
Yeah. Admittedly, Well, I did not. Yeah. Well, I did not think it was good. I didn't think it was as bad as everyone else did, but that's probably just because I was there.
Being
That's
there
always
is
it's always a
fun,
little
yeah.
bit different. The Tony and Deanna match was not a fun experience there or on TV. It seems like
Yeah.
there's
They just got that one wrong in every which way. I
yeah
almost
there's
feel bad like dwelling on it, but I just don't understand why the match was wrestled that way or at that pace or anything.
Deanna's run so far has been interesting, and I think that the problems with it aren't necessarily her fault.
Right.
I think Deanna carries herself like a heel.
Yeah.
I think, look, the part of it was just that the crowd was what needed a break, but it did actually pick up. The crowd started to get into it a little bit, but early in that match, it was dead silent in there, and the
Yeah.
people who did care were rooting for Tony,
Of
which kind of
course.
ruins the dynamic of the match. So
We'll do this here and we'll not go back to it because it's something that will be discussed over and over again elsewhere. But like, I really don't get the idea that Tony's where you're going with Mercedes. I just think it's insane. But they'll like, I think it's probably her call.
yeah,
I think it's a spooky call, but we'll see what happens. Nonetheless, we should probably know for folks who are not aware. At Confirm Shoot on Twitter, if you go there, you'll get a pretty good look at Matt's view, which was like you were basically on commentary.
yeah, that was incredible. I got really lucky in that front. It's not something I would do regularly. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Sting.
it was pretty awesome. Yeah. Honestly, it really wasn't even like when I bought the tickets, that was not the plan. Like, but I couldn't find what I wanted in the price range that I was actually looking for, and then I saw
Said,
those and was like, "Fuck it, let's rock."
Was you on camera at any point?
Yes. If you, yeah. I know on the 0 Hour show they did something with where they talked to the announcers, and there's I don't remember who. I think it was Hollinger screenshotted it. I quote tweeted it, so you could probably find it on my account.
Okay.
It's very funny. Of course, I'm wearing my late night Grin hat, which I did do intentionally because I thought I might be on TV in the background.
Good branding.
Yeah. I definitely did. I don't think I got on TV, but there was one. I think it was after the before the women's match because there was a delay because there was blood in the match before, and so they had to, and so they definitely were talking to the announcers, and I was doing that thing where I was just going like this, staring directly at the camera. So it's like if I'm in the background, I was gonna.
I was scared, bro. I thought Matt is gonna get caught on camera, like doing like the front up the 4 or something.
Well, this was so. Look, I've tweeted about this before. I'm sure I've talked about it on the show. And Joe, we've been to a show together now, so we've kind of experienced it. Joe and I are pretty similar usually in that we go to the wrestling shows and we sit there and we watch and we kind of sit there like this. And we kind of, if you didn't know us, you would think, man, they're fucking bored and miserable, but we're actually like popping huge. And
what was the match in Chicago where we looked down the aisle at each other like, this is pretty good?
I know we did it during the Dax and Jay White match on Collision, but I think but last night I actually kind of got caught up in it, and I started like the guy next to me was really fired up. He was really cool. The dueling, the first dueling, "Let's go Brian, let's go Eddie" chant. Yeah. He actually started the "Let's go Brian" part. And so then I jumped in the "Let's go Eddie" part, and I was like, and that from that point on, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have fun. So I was actually doing, but the perfect summary of me is the Samoa Joe entrance, right? And everyone's doing the Joe, and I wasn't doing this, but I was chanting. And then there was a camera guy focused like on our section, and as soon as I saw the camera guy stop, I just stood there. It's like I don't need to be on camera, man.
They love Joe, man. That match, that was an exhale for the people, but they definitely they loved them some Samoa Joe. It was cool.
Yeah, that I had a hard time focusing on that match, and then it picked up and I got locked in. But yeah, early in that match, man, we were all kind of.
It showed, yeah, and it was a shame because it's probably one of the few things I'd actually criticize about the show that wasn't the two matches we just mentioned. Was like I didn't really like the triple threat. But I think it was a mistake. They should have had a buffer there of some kind. And unfortunately, my guy Roddy probably should have been the victim. But with a triple threat, you need the people rocking for a triple threat because there's a lot of, moving pieces and this is rough.
I thought it got there.
It was good.
The early part was, I mean, I'll be 100% honest. I don't even remember the early part because I was just kind of like out of it. But like once it got going, I was pretty locked in there.
The last couple minutes were good.
Yeah.
I liked the start where Joe took like a solo. He did this awesome this is probably when you were like recovering from Ospreay, but Joe had this like solo run of offense that was fucking awesome, where he was just kicking ass. And then I thought they struggled a little bit for like a direction. To be clear, I'm the low man on this. Most people love the match. It just didn't work for me, but I'm not with triple threats. But anyway,
it was probably, taking out the two matches that it might have been my least favorite of all the rest of the matches, which is speaking more to the quality.
Says more about Okay, so this worked through a couple. So Sting, I asked you earlier, what was your favorite match on the show, and you said like I think you nailed it with Sting, but like it doesn't feel right to say Sting was a match. It was like it was beyond any sort of wrestling scale. It was a moment. Right? It was just it was a spectacle. It was a moment. It was. I mean, it was a home run to go back to that phrasing. How was Sting's entrance in the building?
Incredible. One of the funny things, I guess, about I mean, we were really close, but for the stage, we were actually far away. Because we're behind, and so like, the first song comes out in the Sting, the Surfer Sting gear, which is I tweeted this last night. I probably talked about it on here before, but the actual truth is like I hated when he became Crow Sting. Yes. It broke my connection with him. I didn't dislike him, but it was like he wasn't my favorite wrestler anymore. Like so when he came out at first, from that far away you can't tell what's going on. So I thought it was actually Sting at first, and then it took us a while on that over there to figure out it was his kids. That entrance was awesome. The video package ruled. I've seen some clips, and it's obviously very loud on the broadcast, but I don't even think the broadcast does it justice to how loud it was in that building. I'm sure especially where we were, where the sound's kind of coming down on you. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. Just pure joy. Everyone in the building rooting for Sting. Like there was no...
It was old school wrestling.
There was no like little Bucks contention or like, ironic. And I'm not even like, look, I like the Bucks right now. I'm backing on them. They're doing a good job. But like there was none of that going. Like everyone that was there for Sting. I've never seen so much consistency on the merchandise that people were wearing. Almost everyone in that building was wearing Sting stuff if they were wearing wrestling stuff. Like I just... You could feel it, honestly, when you got there. Like, we got there, doors didn't open till 6. We got there at like 4:15 because we'd read a bunch of stuff about the parking situation being terrible there. And what it actually turned out to be is there's tons of parking. The terrible part is getting out. So we got there way too early. But, like, they were lined. It was wrapped all the way around the building. Like,
Drill grabs, bro.
Everyone was, like, it felt like, I mean, obviously I'll never know, but it felt like the heyday of, like, Greensboro. And like,
what's awesome about that and what's, like, kind of funny about it is how much of, like, peak Greensboro would Sting have even been there for? Right? Like tail end, right? Like very much tail end. Because I was looking at the house for the Flair match was not like, it wasn't a packed house for the famous Flair match, which I didn't realize until recently.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, it spoke to something bigger than, and I think this is why this event has struck a chord with some of us freaks. Sting on his own is the icon. He's a legend. He's one of the great pro wrestlers. He's a really important figure. But I think the reason this resonated to the degree it did, especially in Greensboro, is Sting is a representative and a symbol of something bigger, right?
Yeah.
And it's like AEW at its best has always had this ability to kind of show, like pay tribute to history and kind of capture these moments of wrestling history that are lost, honestly. And Sting has always been the guy opposite the number one, right? He was there in Crockett. He was there, of course, in World Championship Wrestling. He was there in TNA. And here he is in AEW. And I think it being in Greensboro and it being a match, let's be real, that match is that's an AEW match in terms of mainstream pro wrestling. I mean, that was not something you'd see elsewhere in the States, right? On pay-per-view in a building like that. I think it became this sort of representation of the secondary promotion. And I know that sounds like a backhanded compliment, but I think me well enough to know it's the opposite. I mean it lovingly. It's like, if you're a big Sting fan, you've seen that dude work a lot of houses that didn't deserve him and go through a lot of promotions that, struggle to use him. And this was, it's very validating. I don't know.
Like, Joe, you and I are the same in that I think I've always been like this. And like, as we figured out, for those of you who know your late night Grin lore, Joe and I kind of figured out that we're kindred spirits in a lot of ways during the pandemic when we started talking more. But like, there's a real appeal to us to the number 2 promotion. Like in some ways, they're not going to anyway. I don't want AEW to ever be the number 1 promotion. Like that's part of the charm for me is,
they're always trying to figure out the winning formula.
Right.
They have these like flashes of greatness. They have really dumb things. They have production woes.
Yeah.
They're a wrestling promotion.
That's stuff that legitimate. Like, look, I'm not saying I want shit to be bad because I don't. But there is a charm to like there being some, like obviously we went like last year we went way too far with the chaos. But there's a charm to there being a little bit of chaos and there being a little bit of dysfunction and there being a little bit of, not necessarily knowing what the hell is going on. Obviously it's a big difference when it
as long as the shows are good.
Right? Yeah, when it affects the quality, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah. And Sting, on the Turner networks, it's like, I don't know, it's like a whole piece of history. And also, even more on the nose than any of this bullshit symbolism I'm talking about, bro. Like Flair and Steamboat were out there, and Magnum was in the crowd. Like it's a whole era of wrestling getting its getting a chance to shine. It's very special.
Magnum and Nikita Koloff and David Crockett were right in front of us. We were in row 3; they were in row 1, right in front of us. Nikita actually came in right before the start of the triple threat title match, and he actually seemed like he was pretty into it, that's just cool to see. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like so many of those older guys don't give a damn, but he seemed like, obviously he wasn't like jumping up and down or pumping it, but he was like, he seemed like he was into it. I got to like Sting after the show went off the air and after, the stuff that they put on YouTube, he went around the whole, like shaking hands, Wolfpack, stuff like that. It sucked because I was like, I'm the one guy he missed in our little group. Which
probably the best it weren't on YouTube.
Yeah. But I was still like right next to him, which was cool. And I was standing I was literally standing right next to David Crockett. Now David was inside the barricade, and obviously I was behind the barricade. I stood there I was like looking for an opening just to shake his hand, but like he was talking to people, and there was no way I was going to be. Like he was going to have to give me that opening, and it never came, so I just gave up. But, it was a special moment for me. I've never seen Sting wrestle live. I've seen him. I saw him have that weird exchange with Tully in Cincinnati, and I think there may have been one more. But this was the first time I actually saw Sting wrestle. Not going to a WCW show live is one of my biggest regrets. But my real peak. My favorite time of WCW was when getting to go to a wrestling show was not in my control because I was 10 and 11 years old, 12 years old.
Early 90s, right?
Yeah. And it was also, for those of you who might be old enough to remember, it wasn't always necessarily easy to know when WCW was coming to your town unless you watched the syndicated show and saw them do the rundown. They weren't exactly advertising it heavily, which might sound familiar to...
I was going to say, go back to the second promotion thing we were discussing.
Yeah.
Right? The Bucks did a wonderful job in that.
Oh, they were phenomenal.
You knew that was going to be the case, right? Like, I honestly didn't see anyone that's. Oh, he's it's always wrestling, but like most people, I think were aware that even if they didn't like the Young Bucks, they knew they'd be perfect for this because they were villains. I'll talk about this here because like it's the Late Night Grin. Who gives a fuck? FTR is our favorite tag team. I never understood the FTR versus Darby and Sting thing because it's a babyface match, and it's like it's just a weird match to do in it for his retirement match. It never made sense to me, and I'll say that here because I hope no one will be weird about the whole thing. But like, the Bucks made sense. They could be foils, they could be villains. They got the "fuck the Young Bucks" chant. It's perfect for them. Absolutely perfect.
Look. I've been like. I think I've been higher than you on this run since they've turned heel.
Yeah, you like it more than me. I appreciate it. I don't love it, but you like it more than me.
Yeah, I think they've done a good. Like I definitely think they're going to end up getting too cute with it, and it's going to frustrate me. But for now, I've enjoyed it. I would actually, now that the Sting thing's done, I would probably pull it back a little bit.
I would too,
but I don't know. They probably won't. But they were phenomenal last night. Sting. I don't know, Joe, if you saw Barasso's. He had a story about it after they posted.
I saw the
basically the story. I'm sure what it was. The story was done, but he didn't post it till the match ended. There was some good quotes from Sting in there. He made it very clear that this was who he picked.
He loves the Lock, dude. Sting is he's so like. It's honestly remarkable how open-minded he is about graps.
Bro, Tony basically said that Sting would have lost every match in AEW if he had his way. Like, we did the YouTube through the Bluetooth so we basically listened to the scrum like it was a radio show while we were driving home today, just because it's a nice way to kill. Mm-hmm. And he was awesome there. Like Sting was awesome in that scrum, man. He's so like. There's actually some quotes in that Barasso story that I think there's some definite meaning to, which is a topic I'm tired of talking about, so I'm not going to go into. But you can figure it out pretty easily. I
honestly think he doesn't have strong opinions on any of it. I think Sting's he's seen so much, dude. Like
it was more defending his guys than weighing.
Yeah, it was more just like he fucks with the Bucks. He thinks they're awesome, and he's not going to let the. Well, I'm sure he's very aware of the narrative surrounding them among his generation, and he's basically just saying, "Fuck that noise! I want to wrestle him." That.
And that, look, to be clear, because I try to be consistent about this. You don't have to like that it was the Bucks just because Sting picked them.
No, you don't have to give a fuck.
You don't have to like something just because the wrestler picked it. I hate that narrative, but
or Nikki Cross, bro.
But
you're right, absolutely.
It was the Bucks were the right call. They did right by Sting. I'll be honest, there for a minute I thought it was going to be a full-on squash. The Bucks would have done it if that's what they wanted them to do. But it was just a cool moment. His son's doing the Stinger splash was hilarious. Like it's all, obviously in the blur and everything. But like I know one of them like came really short on one of them.
The one in the Wolfpack pain. He wasn't the one that came short, but he was jumping like he was picking up like halfway across the ring.
His second one, he's like he got serious, but like I think it was Garrett who was Surfer Sting.
Your Sting,
yeah. I think the one in the corner by where we were. It looked to me like he damn near broke his neck because his head almost like hit him in the chest. The other thing that was really cool was Sting, like the gear that Garrett was wearing was Sting, the actual gear that Sting wore. That was cool as hell. He
actually was crazy how much he looked like him, bro.
I thought because I'm so far away from the stage and I'm like, I lost my mind because I didn't really know what was going on. And I never expected, like some people wanted him. I'm like, look, 64-year-old Sting coming out of Surfer Sting would have looked ridiculous.
I knew his gear was going to just be Sting. I knew it was just going to be what he does. Because he's not, the thing with Sting is, and I'm not a Scoots by me, but you hear enough about these characters. Like, Genuinely, if it was up to Sting, he would have probably just walked out on his own to his
Yeah.
music. You have to dress it up, but he was not going to do like something outlandish. He was going to be Sting, you know.
He did in the scrum. He did it sounded like the thing with his kid, like that was actually his idea.
Oh, I believe that because they were involved in the angle, you know.
Yeah.
But like, what I mean, like the presentation part of it,
right?
You know, and that was there any tears shed?
I actually did not know. I thought I would. I came close. The closest I came was during the video package.
Same. That's what that nearly got me. Yeah. I didn't cry, but do you know what it was more than the video package? It was like his reaction to it, and
yeah,
I don't know. There's some images there that just carry a lot of weight in there. There's a lot of like they did a really good job of. They didn't have a lot of footage, obviously, but they did a really good job of like letting you forget that.
Yeah,
honestly,
I thought it was really phenomenal. Well. I think part of why I didn't cry, because I honestly I thought I would cry at the end, and they did such a good job of making me believe that Sting was going to lose. Because I came to that show with no idea, because, you know, obviously sometimes it sucks knowing stuff, but like it helped that experience for me a little bit, because I feel like I know enough to know that if Sting had his way, he would have lost that match.
Right.
So I came into that match going, man, I have no idea who's going to win. And when they hit that, I said this to Bob today, when they hit that second trigger, I thought it was over. I felt like I got punched in the gut.
Yeah, when he kicked out one.
Yeah, but before when they were lining it up, I thought he was going to duck. You know, I thought they would knee each other. And when they hit it, I was like, "Oh no!"
I had the same experience. Yeah.
And so basically, I couldn't cry because I was so fired up when he won, like just pure, like jubilation. Yeah, like
it was the right call, bro. Like I didn't want to be loud about it before because you come across like a dick because it's his match, but like Sting, the whole thing about like tradition, you go out on your back. Sting's a superhero, man. People want to see him beat the fuck out of guys and beat them. Honestly, as much as I knew it was what he wanted, Tony did the right thing, because firstly, the Bucks don't need it. The Bucks won. They'll get more heat out of fucking whining about their loss if we're being real. They'll say they got robbed. You know, they can get more heat out of losing. But it's like Sting, the character, the person, is someone that, just generally speaking, the fans want to see him kick ass, man, and be awesome. They don't want to see him be human or lose. Yeah. He's undefeated.
Hilariously, too, is like if you watch that scrum, I don't think there was ever a chance in hell Sting was in that match. But I don't know, man. It was an electric moment. It's everything great about pro wrestling. It did leave me like reflective, because part of what was so special for me with his AEW run is the fact that, like I said, the Crow Sting killed it for me. And I'm not coming on here to say it was bad, because clearly it wasn't. Like, you know, it revitalized his career in a lot of ways, even if they fucked it up. But for me personally, Surfer Sting was my guy, and it was like seeing him become like this dark, brooding character was like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So when he came back to because like WWE, you know, obviously I was excited then. I didn't watch TNA. When he came back to WWE, I was excited then. WrestleMania kicked me in the dick. I vividly remember, I'm sure Bobby was probably part of this too. I don't know. Well, no, that timeline's not right. I didn't know Bob then, but I had convinced myself there was a chance Sting was actually going to win the title briefly.
That was the thing at the time.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, obviously got hurt, but like got kicked in the dick again. Like, and so when he came back to AEW, and then when he started wrestling, and it's like I felt that connection to that guy who was my favorite wrestler from, you know, age 9 to age
literally
14.
30 years ago.
Yeah. So it's just a special look. I don't think Tony Khan would argue with this if for some reason he was here, God forbid. Oh, this Sting run will be his crowning achievement.
I think so. Yeah.
He'll never top it. And that's not even like a knock. I'm sure, it's not like AEW's not still going to do some good, but he will never top this Sting run. He did right by Sting. We always do the qualifiers of all the, there's plenty, but look, he did right by Sting, probably more so than any wrestling promoter that Sting's ever worked for.
Greatly enhanced his legacy with that run,
yes.
man, for sure. Definitely.
If there's one thing that you can usually count on AEW for, it's honoring tradition and let the veteran, the legends, and Sting is the perfect, they're never going to do anything better than that.
Yeah, it was special.
That was a special night last night. The paper, look, you had that moment, but then for anyone who ordered that show just for Sting and hadn't been watching AEW, you got to see exactly what AEW was about.
You got variety too. It wasn't just like one thing. It was very. I agree.
They knocked it out of the park. It's in the conversation for the best show they've ever done. We tend to do the hyperbolic thing right after a show ends. So whatever, at this point, it's hard to rank them anyway. The Eddie Kingston, Bryan Danielson match was special. I thought Danielson was going to win. That was when when I told you this already, Joe, but when King won that match, I fired out of my chair with my hands raised, yelling. I scared my wife, because I don't normally do that. Because I thought he was going to lose. And I love Bryan. So it's not like I was upset about it. But
I'm the same as in the whole but family viewing of that. Everyone loves Dragon, but in that story, he was the dick in that story. You're supposed to want Eddie to win, man. That's wrestling, It's I don't know. That was very cool. So
the pre-match they did was so cool.
Yeah, it was
with
awesome.
Lexi and Renee. I will tell you, Joe, and this would have popped you in the building. We couldn't hear Renee because we were all chanting Eddie.
Oh, yeah, you were loud with that, yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't hear Renee. We couldn't hear at all. I have no idea what she said.
She said he dedicates the match to Jun Akiyama.
Yeah, that's the part we did hear. That was when and I actually watched the entrance back because it was hilarious. In the building, it felt like it took Eddie forever to get out there. And as soon as Renee got done talking, they cut that feed for us, so we didn't get to see it the way he was hilariously walking down the hall,
the most Eddie Kingston walk ever.
Yes. And that fucking, obviously I didn't see the promo they did after till 2:30 in the morning. And God, man, that's real professional wrestling right there. That whole angle is brilliantly done. I think it's becoming pretty clear that we're getting ready for Bryan to be full blown babyface for the rest of his full time run here.
The only match he's going to work heel is the Nigel match, I think now.
Right,
and in that he will be the babyface in the actual context of the story, but in Wembley he'll just work heel because, of course, right?
Right,
that's the right thing to do.
Right,
but yeah, I agree, and I think that's the right move. I know he loves being a heel and he's great at it, but it's Bryan Danielson, bro. If you want to cheer him, it is what it is, isn't it, at this point?
He's so great.
He's the best. The best.
He's great. There's just something. He's so good that it almost makes it easy to forget how good he is. He's wrestling Eddie Kingston. I'm rooting for Eddie Kingston because Bryan's just so good that it's almost like he defies that connection level because he's so damn good. Which maybe doesn't make any sense, but
no, it does. It's you find yourself admiring some of the. To me, that series is that's my personal style of wrestling and the way it was presented.
Yeah,
the announcers did a great job. But how early on Dragon he was ducking the chop and then he started catching the chop. The idea that Bryan Danielson came to this match with all of these ways he was going to try and then he went after the arm. And Eddie, I thought, did a wonderful job selling his right arm. I love when there's depth to the tactical element of wrestling. Because again, I know some people hate this. It's the way I personally enjoy it. So, if wrestling was real, what would you, if you had a match with Eddie Kingston and wrestling was real, your first thing would be, if he doesn't chop me, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Right? And that was the point of the match. And the reason the respect thing hit so hard, I think, was the story they basically told was Dragon wrestled the right match, took Eddie to deep waters where he's often drowned, And Eddie found an answer. So Brian basically had no choice but like, fuck, I was wrong. Like that's to me, that's wrestling, right there. That's perfect. Perfect story to me. That kind of storytelling I've always got time for.
The arc of Eddie Kingston in AEW is phenomenal. And look, some of it there was huge missteps. Nobody's denying that at all.
It does work because
but we got there. Yeah. We got there. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be AEW World Champion, but that's fine. This Continental Crown thing is perfect for him. He's a massive star in AEW. Fan base loves him.
Over, dude.
We're still so conditioned that Eddie loses these matches.
He's kind of kicking ass right now, right?
Yeah, now he's a winner now. Like, I don't know, man. It makes you really happy to see. I love Eddie. Eddie's another one. Look, I knew of Eddie Kingston. Obviously I knew the name. I wasn't super familiar with his work before he came to AEW. He's been a revelation for me. Some of that, look, I'm not as. I've always done that kind of on purpose. I like to. You guys know I watch one promotion usually. Obviously, with AEW, I've been a little bit more open just because you kind of have to be with the way they do things. Yeah. But I like to not be super familiar with them until they get to where, because then I'm not like, oh, I wish he still did this thing that he used to do or things like
that can help sometimes.
Yeah. Especially, look, I'm not even, but the WWE era that I grew up on, or you had to be like that.
You had to. You were fucked otherwise. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, the King thing was awesome. Ospreay and Takeshita, from a pure match standpoint, was the best match on the show. My number 2 takeaway from the show, besides obviously the Sting stuff, was we'll see how it goes from here. But in that building in Greensboro, North Carolina, well, with admittedly a lot of people who flew in. But still, we're in Horseman country. Yeah. Will Ospreay, that crowd, I think Lost tweeted it, and he's 100% right. That crowd basically was saying, this is our guy.
He should win the belt.
This is who we want to be the face. I left that building saying he's the face of AEW. He needs to be the face of AEW.
Think the world of Swerve Strickland. He's going to get that belt, no doubt. And Hangman's doing great stuff. They should have Will Ospreay beat Samoa Joe for the belt, mate. I'm pretty convinced on it. Will Ospreay will not be for everyone, but for what they're trying to create and the product they're trying to kind of make their brand, it's him, and he's fresh, but he's not brand new and inexperienced. He's wrestled so many main event matches. I just think it's a home run, and I'm not personally desperate to see it. I think Ospreay's cool, but he's not my favorite wrestler.
Yeah,
I just think it's obviously the right call. I honestly don't. Again, I don't think that's a knock on Swerve or Hangman. I just think if the Dynasty main event was a 15-minute barn burner where Will Ospreay knocks Samoa Joe out of a hidden blade, I think that would be fucking big time, bro.
The Ospreay's such a that's the thing where AEW has an advantage in that they're kind of more open border. Their fan base knows Will Ospreay already. I mean, obviously he's wrestled some in AEW anyway, right. But even most fans that watch AEW know Will Ospreay already. But then you also have anyone who only watches American television. To them, Will Ospreay's an AEW guy now. You know what I mean? He's not an ex-WWE guy. That tag is, even Swerve. Yes, he was there, but
he's not considered an ex-WWE guy.
I mean, I'm sure, yeah. But I just that match was phenomenal. I already liked Will. There's a famous episode on here where we all argue about Will Ospreay that has aged very poorly for pretty much everyone but you.
And only because I was a centrist. I wasn't even really fighting his corner so much. I was hey guys, he's pretty good.
Yeah. And I was just an idiot who hadn't really seen him lately. I will say that the Will Ospreay I saw earlier in his career I didn't like. I hadn't seen the change that he's gone. He's phenomenal now.
Yeah, man. He's spectacular, and he's also so you said about the ex-WWE thing. More importantly, I think is no one will wrestle like him on their TV, and that isn't a reflection of their TV. It's that they haven't got. He's the only one who wrestles that way. And you couldn't wrestle that way if you were doing, the loop on like he's distinct for them, and he's like his personality it connects with people, especially in the States. It seems like American fans love his personality. So
that's been a revelation for me. The promo that he did on Dynamite last week, I was kind of stunned at how likable he came across to me, and then doing the scrums, man. Like, cause he had done another scrum after one of the shows, and he was in scrum last night. He was really likable. He's kind of frantic and all over the place.
He can be kind of charming,
Yeah, he's got a charm to him, man. It's fascinating.
And
he's an interesting guy.
You can promote him as like, this guy is the most spectacular wrestler on earth.
Yeah.
And the game tape backs it up,
Yep.
It's like I've said this before, some of my favorite wrestlers, there's like details, mate. Like Will Ospreay, you don't really have to, examine it very long to realize why people think he's great. He jumps off the page. He's spectacular. He's a highlight reel.
He's not for everyone, but like look. I mean, Alex loves him,
which is you guys hilarious.
Yeah, like I got a couple. I got another friend who I thought would hate him, and he loves him. So I'm just like, you never know. There's something about him for me. And then his fucking theme song's been stuck in my head all day today.
It's a good one.
Which is also funny because I don't know all the words either, so it's kind of like you're kind of mumbling and but like, yeah, I don't know.
And you got Wembley coming up, man. Yeah. I don't know.
It's going to be a hell of a run for him. As they said, Takeshi. I mean, you guys, Takeshi is my favorite wrestler, just as pure in-ring wrestler. He was phenomenal last night. And thank God they gave him his music back.
For real, yeah.
Yeah. That might, like, his day is going to come. I'm pretty confident.
I hope so.
But yeah, he was awesome last night. You can't lose sight of his, he was there step for step.
Mate, no one wrestles like Will Ospreay, but Takeshi he's very much spectacular in his own right. That dude's, and he's spectacular. He's less about like innovation so much as it's about like he does very simple things in a way that is like stunning,
Yeah.
Like, leaping clothesline for Takeshi is like a huge high spot. It's like, whoa, holy shit,
It's like we talked about. One of the first things that stood out to me was him running the ropes.
Yeah, man.
Like just something that simple. Yeah, him and Okada will be, because that's going to happen.
And Okada's going to be really interesting. I'm fascinated where you put him, like, because there's a part of me that's sort of thinking you got to be careful, haven't you? Because it's an investment. You can't make that and then you have to treat him as like, you basically have to treat him as like the biggest possible wrestling acquisition, right? You have to basically talk about him like he's like,
the fan base is going to treat him that way too.
Exactly. Yeah. So like you have to find the right landing spot where he drops into the promotion, but without just becoming like one of the boys. You know what I'm saying? You have to figure out the right feud, who the right personal issue is.
I'm legitimately fascinated by Okada's run because I don't know what to expect from him as a TV wrestler.
No.
I may love it. I may hate it. I
also wonder, like, will he do like traditional TV matches, or would he just sort of be like a
right?
I don't know.
That's the other thing I'm interested with. I'm interested in that with Will too, because I want to, like, I think Will doing 9-10 minute. I mean, AEW doesn't necessarily, but doing shorter sprint TV.
Oh yeah, we've seen it. Yeah,
phenomenal, man.
Do you remember the match he had with Dax?
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Like, so my thing with Ospreay is he definitely can irritate me sometimes in his epics when he does like, if he does like a limb work section and it's just for the sake of doing it, that can annoy me. Yeah. Last night is like my ideal Will Ospreay. It's like just a 20-minute like highlight reel, because I think I'm a big believer in like the idea that there's different genres of in-ring greatness, like,
oh, absolutely.
I think last night is like, to me, that's the perfect match for what that was supposed to be. I don't need every match to have like, Christian Cage selling, it doesn't have to be that way.
Look at that match versus Danielson and Eddie.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying anyone has to, but like for me personally, I love both. Like, I don't need,
can have the variety,
right? Like, I don't need, I don't even know what if I was probably choosing, I prefer the Ospreay Takeshita type
It's more
match.
exciting, isn't it? It's more exciting.
I mean, I think I talked about this when we were watching Zach and Danielson, where it's like that type of match in anyone else's hands, I would be bored out of my mind. But because they're so good at it, like I don't want to watch. No, just like
go for it.
I don't want to watch two indie guys who maybe are technically sound, and if I don't care about them, I don't want to watch that kind of match.
That's the key.
Bored. Yeah.
Wrestling. No wrestling match lives in a vacuum where you're just examining their technique. You know, it's like I once used the example of like, do you remember when Joe wrestled Suzuki and they just did chops for 2 minutes? I won't name who this was, but I was talking to him and I was like, look, bro, I'm gonna be real. If Bronson Reed does that exact same spot with Minoru Suzuki, it's like, who gives a fuck? But there was a novelty to seeing, oh my god, it's smoke. Now the same logic applies. Even if guys you wasn't aware of did that main event match they did at Revolution, you'd be like, it's kind of like garbage wrestling. It's like plunder wrestling, right? Yeah. It's not highbrow grabs. But the point is, Sting is doing. Sting just went through glass, you know.
I'm not like Oracle can kind of do this where he can watch it in a vacuum and he can not completely, but more so than us. That's just not. It all matters for me. Everything, package. The whole pack. Whether you could put two of my favorite wrestlers in the ring, and you could put two wrestlers that I don't care about in the ring, and they could literally have the exact same match.
Of course.
And I'm going to care way more about the one with that's just like you could put the exact same match in front of a hot crowd or in front of a dead crowd, and that's going to greatly change how you feel about them. Most people feel about the match.
Yeah,
like all those factors matter. Just like
it's an experience.
Right. Story. People go on and on about stories, and some of them don't. I don't think they know what they're talking about. But there are times where yes, you're just throwing a match together, and again, if it's two wrestlers I already know and care about, I'm still going to enjoy the match. But if you do the same match, but there's like this backstory and they've been feuding, then yes, that match is going to hit a little bit different.
This is not the day for it.
Yeah.
But there needs to be an actual examination of the word story and what
I don't think there does.
Well, no,
but I know people are, yeah.
You're right. We'll never do it. But someone ought to do it. Because seriously.
Yes.
I'm going to do this very briefly, I promise, Matt. But seriously. You know what you just described, the two guys being friends together to a wrestling match? In my opinion, that's what a lot of a wrestling promotion should be. Because to me, the fabric of a wrestling show is pretending it's an athletic presentation. And within that world, the idea would be that guys are matched to have wrestling matches.
I mean, yeah, if we're being 100% honest, every match on every TV show having a story behind it doesn't make any sense. I
hate it personally.
Like if we want to be, nothing would make wrestling seem more fake than every single wrestling match on your TV show having a story behind it.
Yeah. I think it should be, again, no, but we'll get back on track from it. But I feel strongly about this. I think the idea of an angle is that it breaks from the format you train your audience is the norm.
Yeah.
So you do a wrestling show. These guys are wrestling. This guy wins, that guy wins. And then a heel does something crazy. They bust the baby face open, wherever it may be. It's like that. Then the idea would be that the show is like, holy fuck, that heel just disrespected everything we stand for as a wrestling promotion. He's a piece of shit. This baby needs to get revenge,
I mean, look, if they just told us a story in the world title match that the story distracted the two challengers from actually trying to win the world championship. And that's the story they told that was Joe's post, his they were too worried about each other instead of trying to beat me, the world champion. And look what happened to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think people overcomplicate
stories. Also, it's important to devote. We're talking about when people say, what's the story behind the match? Yeah. An in-ring story is a different thing, to be clear, folks.
Yeah.
I think unless you can do offense like Will Ospreay, most wrestling matches should strive to tell a simple story within their match, Like even if it's just shine, heat, come back. We're talking about when a match graphic is greeted by what's the story is what we're talking about here. This is important because they're two different things. But yeah, anyway, back to Revolution. Our friend Brenton Rose has just resubscribed. He's moved us to 21 whole months on Twitch. I'm sorry to hear that, Brent. I apologize. We're very thankful nonetheless. If you're watching along on YouTube, please do give us a thumbs up and the subscription because we're now on the YouTube. We're gearing up here. What are we? We're like, bro, in the UK, we're only, never mind, because the UK is March 16th. We're 11 days away from LNG 100. So,
my God.
Big business. Not the Dynamite show. So after that. Anyway, Eddie and Brian, main event, co-main event, Ospreay. Can we talk about the FTR now?
Oh, man. Atmosphere for that match ruled. I saw some tweets that like it didn't rule, which it was weird to me.
On TV, it came across like dueling chants, then it went quiet, and then you guys got really into it. Like,
yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
It seemed like you guys were honestly. It seemed like the scramble had a bit of an effect on the audience live for a little bit.
Yeah,
but
and then there are some like it's another one where we liked both teams. So that you can run into issues with that all the time.
For sure.
Like there can be times with FTR matches where it takes a little bit to get going. And then when it gets going, it's fucking awesome. And you forget that it took a while to get going. If you're someone like me anyway, when the match ends the way that it ended and it got so hot, I don't really care anymore that the first 5 minutes were a little bit boring or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I thought I had a great time. FTR in Horseman Country was a blast. Mox
they got really hooked
star
to the end.
To that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I actually thought the one part of the match that I thought was probably where they needed to trim was the heat.
Yeah,
like because they wasn't red hot for FTR's like little kind of starter shine, and BCC they had a great cut off that. I'm sure it looked great live when Cash did that big bump on the apron.
Yeah,
look, it was an awesome bump. Went into some heat. They probably could have really shortened the heat because they wasn't like working with any great. They wasn't working like a body part. They were just kind of in control, right? And that isn't Moxley's bag. You want to see Moxley in the midst of the chaos, in the action, in the violence. So that's the one thing I would say. Dax made his comeback, and then Dax got juice, and then things got. But it sounded like at home. You can speak to this, but like, dude, they got really caught up they got hooked at the end there when FTR was struggling. There was the FTR chants got louder. It was like people really wanted them to call it out, and they couldn't do it. It was very dramatic. I thought.
Again, especially I'm bad about it anyway, but especially live, some of the stuff could be a blur. There was a couple sequences in that were very what's the word I'm looking? Creative, I guess. They did a couple things that I thought were phenomenal.
There was one where
a couple reversals, basically, that the sequences were.
Well, you had, I think the highlight spot, if you were just doing like a montage, whatever, was the fucking Doomsday device where Claudio like run up the ropes to do a hero.
Yeah.
That was crazy. There was a great spot where the Shatter Machine turned into the big swing, which is sick too. Yeah.
Wasn't there a spot where Claudio was on one of their shoulders and he reversed the move when he took the move, basically, didn't?
Yes, it was FTR have been doing that finish recently that's kind of like the Steiner, kind of like the Steiner when Dax come
in.
And Claudio turned it into like a power slam for two.
And where we were at first, it was almost kind of hard to tell what happened. I don't know how it looked on TV.
A little bit. It was very quick. And the other highlight I thought was to be clear, I loved the match, and I know everyone's response to that's going to be like, yeah, of course, but like I think you know me well enough to know. Like, I didn't like the Smojo match. I try to be good with that, There's been FTR matches as of late. For example, on Wednesday, I did not particularly like the FTR match on Wednesday. So like, it is what it is. You like something, you don't like something. It is what it is. I say all that to say, when they did the package pile driver and then Cash took off like he was fucking Usain Bolt to do
Yeah.
a dive. I don't know, man. I was talking to Monty a bit because Monty was live. He was texting me while I was watching. He was synced up with me. And we were just like, this match is fucking awesome. So it is what it is. Everyone's experience is different. Yeah, I loved it. I don't know what the future holds. You know, I don't know what, especially with Cash, there's obviously other factors at play. I would not be surprised, however, if that is something they go back to in a potential tag tournament final.
Yeah.
Would not surprise me. Now, again, other factors at play, but it wouldn't
I'm very
surprise
excited
me.
for this tag tournament.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, dude. It's going to be absolutely awesome, right?
Peak Tony, the way he sold that, too. And
what did he say? I didn't see it.
Well, he tied, you know, obviously here, March Madness, college basketball, he tied it into that. He used it. He turned it into a plug for TBS, and because Turner has the NCAA tournament, right. So of course he molded into that. And then he said the way he introduced it, and seeing the clip, honestly, I don't know how anyone did it, but some people did it. He said there'd be more than one bracket, which he was referring to both there being the college basketball
and yeah.
But some people took that to mean that like this was a multi-bracketed tag team tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I came on this show and I pitched they should do a tag team Continental Classic to do the new champions. Yeah. It probably takes up too much TV time for.
I just do it. I think it should be a massive bracket. I think everyone should be in it. Because everyone should want the tag belts, bro.
I love tournaments, so I always have. I don't know where we got to this thing that wrestling tournaments are bad. Wrestling tournaments are fucking awesome.
It's like anything; it trends in one way or the other. He did a lot of them, and people got tired. But like, he's never done a tag team one, right? Like a real one, like an adult one.
They did that Lethal Lottery one, which kind of sucked. Yeah, I'm sure they've done a number one contender one, but yeah, not.
Look, I know people liked it, but that was entirely a better than you Bebe vehicle. Like, I mean, like, you know.
I like the idea of it. I didn't love the execution, but yeah, I'm fired. I love tournaments. So, and there's nothing like a tournament for a title. It's a nice chance to kind of relaunch the tag division, which they kind of need to do a little bit.
It's getting there. Some nice pieces in place.
They should get new belts, in my opinion, just because, just kind of doing
the correct wrestling thing when someone vacates the belts. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like those are Sting's belts. Those are Sting and Darby's belts. So get some new belts.
Those belts are pretty nice, though, to be fair.
Yeah, they are great. They're probably the
AEW generally does belts well, honestly.
The original women's belt wasn't great, but they fixed that over time.
Look, a toy belt, it was around for very little. I want to talk about Christian Cage and Daniel Garcia, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the match, Matt, watching my family, and Christian Cage, obviously, he hurt his ankle. First, he pretended he hurt his ankle, and then he actually had his ankle fucked with. And he does that spot, right, where he vaults over the top rope and then throws the uppercut. And, like, I'm an absolute freak, but you know me well. I don't say this stuff out loud, but I'm watching it, and everyone's talking, and I'm like, fuck, is Christian about to do this spot even though his ankle's fucked up? I was like being the loser, I was like, that would be very un-Christian of him. And he goes to do it, and he stops himself, shakes his ankle out, and slides under the bottom. And I was like, this fucking guy is like, again, folks, I apologize for going full freak, but it's the late night grid. It genuinely, like, it happened in like 2 seconds, I was like, wait, no, of course not. It's Christian. Of course he wouldn't do that, right? Most obvious thing ever. But I had a really nice wrestling match, man. I really, really liked that match a lot. What did you make of it live?
Very good. I mean, I love Christian Cage. I like Danny a lot. Probably not as much as some of you guys. And I don't even mean that negatively. I'm just not quite as.
Yeah.
But I like him a lot. I went into the match kind of thinking he should win. I get why he didn't. I didn't love the finish.
Finish was a little flat.
Yeah, it also didn't help that he kind of missed the move. I don't know how it looked on TV.
Nick Wayne, he missed it.
Where we were, because it was right in front of us, he missed the move completely.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because Nick's been a lot better lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the match a lot. I didn't really think it ever hit like a gear to become some kind of insane, memorable match. But it was
No, it
really
flirted
strong.
with it when, again, because I've watched some of the stuff back. But so you remember the spot where the big near fall where Christian went for a spear, his ankle gave out, and then DG hit the pile driver.
Yeah.
That was when the match peaked because the people thought that was it, right? I'm sure you can attest. So, but yeah, it was very. I mean, it was wrestled like Christian wrestled it in a way of like it's the opening match, right? It wasn't like they didn't really swing big. They just had a nice wrestling match, made sense. They are very close philosophically, which is funny considering there's like 25 years between those two fellas. But I thought Danny did a good job of like, firstly, they wrestled a traditional babyface heel match. And again, I know it's like a broken record. Christian Cage, the value in him is you were there, Matt. You'll know this better than I will. That crowd was so much behind Garcia, right?
Yeah.
And it's like Christian Cage has been on TV for 25 years. By all right, there should be a lot of fans that want Christian to win, but he's an actual heel. There was a couple Christian chants I heard on TV. I don't know if you heard those in the building. Let's go Christian.
You can also tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. You can tell that Christian is the kind of heel where the people like him, but they want to play along.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they know he's fucking rules, but they
never cheer him.
Yeah, they're gonna play along.
It's awesome.
Early AEW, the crowd was awesome. Like they would do that with everyone. Now they only do it with the people who deserve it.
Yeah, there's very few like real heels. He's on it only once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's cool, man.
I will say that, like, even more I think about it, like going to that match, I really was like, maybe Garcia should win this, but it's been what, 4 months? Like
I never felt.
Yeah, it's not time yet. It's kind of that instant gratification thing where
he's on track now, mate. Danny's good now. He just needs to stay on track now. That's it.
Yeah, they got to keep him going, keep him on track. The one disappointment for me, just personally, is I thought Copeland was going to show up after the match. I thought they would do some kind of. I just wanted the entrance.
That was surprising. I must admit, because he lives in North Carolina.
Yeah,
right?
I thought they were going to beat Danny down more after the match, and we'd get the big Copeland entrance and the huge pop and the but
no, I agree. So I was surprised too. I actually thought he was going to be the finish that. I actually thought he was going to cost Garcia. My finish. Speaking of such,
the other thing I can't remember where. I don't even. Christian has like every heel tactic in the book, but it works because it's him.
Yeah.
Somebody said that. I'm stealing somebody else's take, but I can't remember who it was. It was somebody we were talking to this weekend. But
remember, we was just talking about how there's context and it depends who's doing it. It's true. Ibu says it all the time to me. Like some of Christian stuff is like wrestle crap, bro. Like he's managing. He's going to the ring with fucking Nick Wayne's mom, dude.
Yeah. But it shouldn't work, but it works
because he's good at it. It's all execution. Tropes are. Everything has wrestling, wrestling tropes. There's a handful of them. They're in everything. It's just how you do it. And he commits to it and he wants to play a role. Also, it's just a small thing. Like a lot of the boys did a really good job with their presentation. I was like, Garcia was a good one. He had the West Side. I don't know if you pretty because commentary, but the Jackie had the Sting one.
Mm-hmm.
West Side Gun gave him that. And that gave him a real pop, I thought, as like, it looked cool, right? Like, watching my folks, that was me like, whoa, the Sting thing was really like a nice touch. And
hilariously, we couldn't even tell it was a Sting jacket.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It looked on TV. It looks.
I've seen
really
it.
cool.
Yeah, I've seen the clip. Yeah, it looked cool.
Like,
the chat. Apparently Copeland was on the stage at the end. That was too far away for me to tell.
I'm sure he was there. Yeah, but that's a big like. It's one of those things that
remarkable
as nerds,
restraint for them.
Yes, as nerds, we don't talk about it as much. Like, bro, it's a big show, man. Get yourself some cool gear.
Yeah, that shit matters. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, man, absolutely it does. It's like, cool. If Blackpool Combat Club had the Road Warriors, that's fucking sick, dude.
People can go like, look, it doesn't matter more than the wrestling for me,
right?
But it matters. Just like that was always like I've talked about. That was a barrier for like Ring of Honor for me. Like, and we're talking overall. The presentation stuff matters. Like, you can go to. I honestly, some of the stuff at AEW, I think they've gone a little too far for me. I wish we didn't have all these LEDs and
It's a lot.
like they don't bother me, but I'd rather not have them.
They could have a more like singular presentation that's more them, right?
Yeah.
I think is the key.
I'm really hoping that whatever this new stage on Wednesday is. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be gaudy.
It's the tunnels,
and
right?
I don't know.
Tunnels. I think it's is that out there or not? Did I say that? What? Tunnels? Tunnels
I don't
is out
know.
there, right? If it's out there, tell me so I can relax. By the way, speaking of things you should say in the chat, who was Rod Strong dressed as?
Oh, it was some I don't remember the name, but it was some. Yeah.
That was as a fan, that's one where you go, well, I have to wear that. That's a shame. You know? Yeah. And then he started chopping him. I was like, fuck it, we're back.
I know. I think I tweeted like, because it was after the scramble, and I put something like Roddy's here to put on, and then of course they do and I went on there and I put I have no comment on the mask.
Yeah, I don't know who. Okay, tunnels have big. Okay, good. Fuck, that was scary. That was an unfortunate look, I will say. So, it is what it is.
Within probably 90 seconds of each other, I would guess, if I remember right, Ibu and I both tweeted a machine built for Graps during that match.
Mate, look, I sometimes worry because, I do a lot of bits. I don't know if you've heard, Matt, and I'm over and all that on the TV.
There's 67 people here watching this when Raw's on right now, so
I have been told I'm influential. Have you heard this?
That's going too far, but yeah.
I thought so too. But anyway, I always like to stress, like, the Roddy thing is not a bit. Like, you know this.
Yeah.
I think he's fucking incredible, man. And it's one of those things where I will die on that hill. Like, he always gets lumped in as like, oh, he's a work rate guy, can't talk. It's like, yes, he is that. But he's the best at that. He's like the way that Bobby Eaton was 30 years ago, where it's like, he's so good at one part of this game. His value is immense. That's Roddy to me. I think he's incredible.
Roddy is the best way I can describe Roddy for me is that when he's not there, I don't care. And I don't mean like he's one of those guys you forget how good he is. You know what I mean? But then you see him. I'm very fired up for this. I was so happy when he won. I was pretty confident he was going to win. Thank God. I would have been really mad if. I love Orange, but it's time.
It was so time, and I actually think they should leave him off. I think they should leave him off for a little bit. I really do. Yeah. Like,
they won't, but they probably should.
He's really valuable, but he's more valuable if you just let me miss him for just a week or two. You know? Yeah, like, good God.
But let Roddy cook with this belt, man. Like, maybe not every week, but every other week.
Every week, man.
Yeah. I mean,
we've got 3 TV shows, brother. Yeah. Let's do it.
Like, I'm ready for some Roddy Strong bangers, man.
Yeah, and do some freak ones too. Like, with Orange, they brought in some crazy, but like, do it with Roddy, man. And
then the Kyle thing was really cool. I didn't see that coming at all, which I probably should have.
I didn't see it.
Ruled. I like that it doesn't look like he's going to be with them, so that's cool. Let Kyle cook on his own.
You can revisit that when this group inevitably dies anyway.
Yeah. I don't hate this group as much as some people do.
No, it's just not long for you can tell it's not long for the game. It's one of them things that will fade, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look, I hilariously, especially now that Roddy's toned it down a little bit. And again, I said this a long time ago and I meant it and I still feel this way. Roddy thinks he's cooking, so like
he kind of, I mean, he did get that shit over to an extent.
Yeah, he did.
Like, it fucking sucked, but he got it over.
I honestly like the 3 of them, just the Roddy and the Kingdom Act. That's like just those 3 alone. That's my favorite. Like, I wish they were just a group, and
I wish it was them and they have Maria as their valet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that because Cole. Look, I still like Adam Cole, but he's in a wheel. Like, there's nothing. Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
There's nothing appealing to Adam Cole right now. He's hurt. Like, it's not his fault even, but like, he shouldn't be on TV right now.
Of course not. It's ridiculous.
The Wardlow thing, I don't know how I feel about I actually really liked the promo a couple weeks ago. The one on Collision wasn't awful, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's just going to lose to Joe, so.
It's, so I think, I have a hunch. There's a couple theories I have. I think they may have, because Tony Khan has all those freak spreadsheets with ratings and stuff. I think there is a chance they've concluded this is like this match is a good TV play, which I think it's more likely that Tony Khan thinks Samoa Joe should get his win back on Wardlow, to be honest with you, which is exactly what I would do. So, no, I would, if I'm being real, I wouldn't go back to that match. But I mean, we'll see what they come up with. If it's 10 minutes of TV, it'll be fine. I think Joe's going to hold it.
That'd be insane.
No, I think it's big business. I think that's why I think it may be a ratings thing, because big business, I think that will be like the kind of the big match. Because
they've already announced a hell of a match for big business, though.
So it seems like my prediction / suggestion may be coming to fruition with the Serena Deeb thing. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that.
They will want a big match to advertise, but I think Mercedes is going to wrestle. I think Deeb's going to announce an open challenge for that. I just got this feeling. I felt that way for a while. I think Mercedes Moné, the value there, she's a big time star, but people want to see her grapple, man.
Yeah.
And what better wrestler, right? Serena's she's smooth.
I'm pretty.
That's what I would do.
You probably didn't watch Zero Hour. You probably haven't seen the 0 hour matches, right?
No.
Jay White cut a great promo on that show. Like I said to Jack, like that Jay White thing was a example of Tony being chronically online, sometimes being a good thing. Because basically the theme of that Jay White promo is, I'm having fun right now, but don't get it twisted. Like when it, I'm still Switchblade Jay White. It was funny because he basically, I don't remember the way he worded it, but he said he had something for big business. I was like, man, are they going back to Jay White in a title match already? Like that seems like a mistake, but it's Darby, which hey, that'll be awesome.
That'll be great. Yeah, it's a great matchup.
Yeah. I don't know. I still, Jay White's an interesting one for me because he's one of those guys you can heat up whenever you need to because he'll deliver. I've got some opinions on where he is right now that I'm not going to share on the air, but yeah, I
think he'll be. I think he's going to be an upper mid card heel for them. And that's that's why I've felt for months now.
Yeah.
And I personally think he's capable of more, but I think that's where they're going to slot him, and that is what it is, right?
I'm a big fan of the Bang Bang Gang Bullet. I don't even know if they're called Bullet Club Gold anymore. I think they've kind of just dropped that. But
I miss Juice Robinson.
I miss Juice. Look, man, the Acclaimed are cooked. I still love Bowens.
Bowens is great. He's great. Yeah.
I have no idea.
It's one note, isn't it? It's an attitude era, man.
Well, I want to be very clear that I don't know anything, and Joe, you may know something and be able to tell me that I'm 100% wrong. But the further I'm getting away from it, I'm increasingly convinced that Max Caster botch was basically they made him do that, and like this is what I feel like because he did a rap on an indie show about Vince and that whole situation, and he got in trouble last time he did that. And I think he got in trouble again because like this is like a running thing now. It's like he can't rap, and I think it's like it's almost like, especially watching it, because in the ring where it literally seems to me like they are punishing him on television, and maybe they're doing it because he fucked up that rap.
Maybe, yeah.
But I'm starting to feel like they basically made him do that to look stupid. But I'm done with the Acclaim, man.
People still like them, but it is like when I say Attitude Era Act, I don't mean in terms of content. I mean in terms of like, those act they have their lifespan. Like, and
people do still like them, but it's definitely nowhere near what it used to be. And look, again, I want to be clear. I think Anthony Bowens is great. None of this is his fault. But yeah, it's time to move on.
Just making him a tag team again would be better, though.
Yeah.
The trio's ability is like.
I think that's coming. I think the play here obviously is they're gonna. I mean, they got to be unifying those titles, right? And
I think so. Kiwis just pop me in the chat.
Yeah,
Kiwis,
yeah.
I'm gonna put it on the screen. Fuck it, it's Kiwi.
Yeah.
I was protecting Kiwi there, like he was in the business, you know,
Right.
like he was JJ.
But I'm over it. And look, man, I God bless them. They were hot as hell there for a while. They got fun for a while. They had a couple memorable matches that, that first match with Swerve and Our
That was a
Glory is an
miracle match,
all-time.
mate.
Yeah.
In history, that will be like, holy fuck, what happened there?
And an all-time great atmosphere. And
yeah.
But yeah, it's run its course. But whatever. I will say that, like, as much as I'm saying that, it hasn't reached a point where I like get actively angry when they're on the TV show.
No, they're just not really interesting right now. It's maybe they can find something. I don't know. I've doubted them before, and they maybe made a fool of me. So
yeah,
it is what it is, right? Is there anything else on Big Revolution you'd like to discuss, Matt?
I like the women's tag on 0 Hour.
I heard that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've seen mixed reviews on that, but in the building it was good. Yeah, in the building it was good.
Every match I've seen mixed reviews on that.
It's a nice win for Willow and Stat. I really like their dynamic. I don't know where the hell they're going with it. I honestly hope they're not going anywhere with it and they just keep them together, but that's clearly not probably going to happen. So, but yeah, it's been like I'm actually enjoying the dynamic of like Stokely slowly. Like it's like this where they're all slowly becoming friends, which of course we're probably going to get burned in the end on it. But like I really enjoyed that dynamic. It's a fun little act.
Stokes eventually going to bring a big bad into.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But it feels like that would be maybe Megan.
Megan.
Yeah.
Feels like it, doesn't it? It's good. It's a great way to introduce someone. Like give them straight an angle right away. That's what the division needs more of. That's what Mariah's done well. You know, like
Mariah's phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I wish she had the belt, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Collision? Because we haven't really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. I did get very mad though because I thought Buddy Matthews was going to wrestle, and then he did not.
Yeah.
That was a good angle though. And that
good
match
angle
is happen. That match is probably going to happen on Saturday, right?
I hope
Thursday to air Saturday.
I was hoping they'd put it on 0 Hour so I could see.
I bet you were.
Yeah. That was a cool. I like that angle. I like it. I told you this at the time. Like I thought Collision was fun because it was very much a filler show. Yeah. But we're freaks, so we love shows like that. Like there was a good little pro wrestling show.
There was a couple of things I struggled with on it. I like the main event a lot though. Like relative to it wasn't trying to be a classic. I just like the way it was wrestled and like seeing Roddy and Christian on the same team. God bless. Roddy and Garcia were great in that match.
Mm-hmm.
I thought.
We love an all-star tag.
Yeah, there was a tag match on the show that was a little bit unfortunate and made me reassess my scouting report on the Private Party as much as I like them. I'm very fond of Private Party. I think Private Party, the ultimate, I love the idea of them. 1 week I'll be all in and the next week I'll be like, well, maybe not. They're very inconsistent, I find. I think their personalities are great. Their work is very up and down. In fairness, that crowd was very tired.
Yeah.
And God bless him. Chris Daniels is not,
Mariah.
She looked great, dude.
Bro, there's at least one time in every match she has where I yell laughing in a good way because she's absolutely yes, fucking rules.
Her and Queen's the same way, bro.
Yeah.
I'm with you. She's been very impressive, and Nigel McGuinness is fucking awesome. The way he did the thing with Mariah where he fell down.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, man. Like that was another we were right behind Nigel, and like I got a picture of it. Adrian got a really good. My wife, they're hugging on Twitter, which is a phenomenal handle. Because I can tell that story because I don't think I've ever told it. Her handle is they're hugging because we went to the Arnold Classic. Me and Adrian and JJ. And we came back, and I guess we hadn't watched that because it had to be the past week's NXT from Wednesday.
This is 2015, right?
Yeah, I think so. 15 or 16. It's one of the
16 might be, yeah.
And because that back of that NXT TV, you could watch it whenever, so we didn't necessarily always,
Yeah.
And so we're like, we'll watch the TV, and I was exhausted, and I'm like laying on the couch, my eyes are closed, and I was like, just tell me what's happening. And so she starts doing play-by-play, and she just keeps saying they're hugging over and over again. And I look up, and they're like in a collar and elbow tie-up or something like that. So that's been a running bit for years now.
I thought it was a Bailey bit.
No.
Because you mentioned to me, when I asked you, you mentioned to me, you was like, you didn't tell me the whole story, so we probably got distracted talking about something else, imagine that. But you were like, it's an NXT 2015 thing. I was like, well, obviously, that's Bailey.
It is
obviously.
That same day that, well, she hugged Bailey that day.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's got nothing to, hilariously, it's got nothing to do. But that's been a thing for years. Like, she'll, there's not that many do it now, but anytime someone does a bear hug, she pops huge because it's,
I mean, that's in that case fair.
She gets to hit her spot. And but yeah, she took a ton of pictures. She got a picture though of Nigel, and Brian's like laying on the mat behind him because he just lost.
Just standing up.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. But like Nigel, because I took a picture too, like he like jumped up and was like pumping his fists and like hopping around.
It's part of the show, mate.
He's such a hater.
It's
awesome.
a lost art. Like, people don't, some of the wrestling golden eras, the commentators were as big a part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm not comparing them directly. Don't get mad at me. But like, Bobby Heenan was a big part of the show, man. Jesse Ventura was a big part of the show,
Lawler was when he was
Lawler
in his
was
prime as an announcer.
It's part of the charm. It's part of why people enjoy watching the TV. Like, I was upset he didn't do more. He only did 2 matches on the main card. I was bummed. I was like, fuck. Nigel back out there, man.
Because the Christian match, he was very animated too. When he kicked it was the pile driver there.
Lines, bro. He had some crazy lines in that match. Because he did the one about, he had a lot of them. At one point, he accused Shivani of having like an OnlyFans subscription. He said Christian was the front runner for DILF of the year. Wow. And at one point, Shivani just outright goes, "You got to calm down a little bit, brother." He said, "You got to calm down, brother." I'm excited.
But yeah, like when Danny hit the pile driver, the big false finish, like I think Nigel went like this. I can't remember, but I know when he kicked out, Nigel was he had the 2 fingers. He was holding the 2 fingers up in the air. I tried to get a picture, but I missed it. But he fucking rules, man. He's
the best.
That yeah, I don't know.
You haven't rewatched the main event, right? So
I haven't rewatched. Yeah, I can't.
You remember how the main event started, right? With the Darby, like, he did a dive.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Ross was so fucking mad when that happened. He'd taken his like headset off. Jim was just chilling, like he thought he was just safe. And Darby does this dive, and Sting threw his jacket, and it like went over the. And I think it was Jim. It might have been Tony. One of them was like, "Shit!" It's the first word of Sting's.
I saw somebody tweet about that. Yeah.
And Jim Ross goes, "We must be stupid. Why didn't we see it coming?" I was so mad. It's that triple threat match, brother. That was the wrong match for our friend Jim Ross to be like. He loves him some Samoa Joe, but he was struggling to figure out what he was playing. Like, when Swerve hit the his finish on Joe, and then he didn't pin him because he wanted to go for Hangman.
Yeah.
The point obviously being like that's the beef. Jim was like, maybe he just thinks Joe's tougher than Hangman. Excalibur was like, I'm not sure that's what it is, Jim, but the highlight of Jim's commentary was when he started talking about how thick Samoa Joe was and was getting very worked up. It was very funny.
I think Tape tweeted it about, I guess, the exchange or the commentary exchange where I don't remember the details, but it was about why are they both number 1 contenders.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed out that Swerve's 2-0-1 against Hangman, and then they just kind of moved on.
Yeah, they just he just points stuff out, and they have to just move on. It's like, all right, fair enough. God bless him, man. I'm glad he could be there for it. I'm that meant a lot to him, and Shivani was. He's just talk about someone this legacy's been enhanced by AEW's existence. Tony Schiavone's honestly, he's probably the actual league leader in that regard. Like Sting, definitely Sting, but Sting was the icon before, like, brother, being a Tony Schiavone fan was spooky for a bit there. He was like he was a punching bag for a long time.
Yeah, he was. I forgot how much I liked him because it was just jokes for years, and then he came back and it was awesome.
And he was bad at the end of WCW. He was awful. He'll tell you that himself.
He didn't care.
But anyway, it's been really cool. Really cool.
In perfect Grin fashion, I've just realized that I never finished my point that my wife on Twitter, they're hugging.
Yeah.
Took some phenomenal pictures.
I retweeted some. So yeah.
And she gets no engagement. She hardly ever tweets, so it's not like she even cares. But
just tweeted.
If you want to go check her pictures out and follow her and whatever. But
at Late Night Grin on Twitter, I retweeted a couple of them, so you can go right there.
Okay.
But yeah. We looped all the way back around on that one.
I got a really good picture of Bryan Danielson last night. It's probably like my the best picture I've ever taken.
Matt confirmed shoot.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson.
I also took a picture of Sting with the roster behind him, and Monty tweeted it from the WrestlePierce account and tagged me and fucking blew my notifications up all night.
That was so funny. I got the Blu-ray for our show we ran in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I forgot, just because I was watching the show, I forgot Final Countdown.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, brother.
Is it in the... don't dub it?
It's in there.
Man.
And the big thing is... So I don't know how it is for you guys. I know the sound for AEW sucks for everyone, but we have it on streaming, right? So, like, these Blu-rays, if this is only if you're a freak, but I'm telling you this because you're somewhat freakish. The sound is like, it's transformative. Because AEW sound fucking sucks, right?
Yeah.
And, like, we have it on Fight TV, bro. I have to put my TV up to like 40 to hear that what the fuck Nigel McGuinness is saying.
Yeah.
These Blu-ray is so dense, man. You can hear everything, you know? So when the guys are having these matches...
You're going to make me buy this shit.
Wembley's the craziest one.
Yeah.
Because Wembley, the sound at Wembley is like when this like Sting's entrance on Blu-ray, like I was losing my shit. The Ring of Honor one I got I wanted to get the Briscoes FTR match isn't produced as well, but the AEW, it's just good to hear the shows sound like that because the mix is always fucked up in it with AEW, always,
yeah.
But because obviously they've had some time to actually like polish them up, it sounds amazing. So anyway, my point being, the strap match watched through that lens, like. The sound, it really took me back to being there, which is what I was hoping for. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy the Revolution one for sure, but I may have to get that all out one.
I'm gonna get Revolution. I'm if they make Wrestle Dream, I'll be tempted because I loved Wrestle Dream. I thought that show was so great. Show. I had two of my all-time favorite AEW matches: the Christian match and the Zach match. So, yeah. Anyway, we say all this to say, like, hey, they do some good wrestling shows. That Elite Mob.
I'm very happy right now. Again, we don't even have. I don't know why I do it, but it's not perfect. I'm not claiming it's perfect, but like, pretty fired up right now. Vibes are good.
It's a good time for grabs, bro. Like, I know you don't watch WWE, and you've always said that on these shows, but like, fucking Dwayne's doing the weekly segments. Cool, man. Wrestling feels cool right now.
I'm not oblivious to the fact that they're still quite hot. So if you, I mean, it's cool for the people who watch it. I'm not. Yeah.
Have you seen what Rock's new thing is that he says? It's actually like Beast that he says this because he deliberately says he says professional wrestling is exciting again. Yeah. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he's right. Saw that. Yeah. It's cool, man.
That's cool. Like, I think you guys know this anyway, but I'm not, as much as I don't like WWE, I'm not one of those people who gets mad that you like WWE. Like, if you're popping, like, God bless. I'm not saying you're wrong or you shouldn't be. Like,
your main thing with wrestling is watching stuff you like. That's that. Yeah. That's the end of it. Like, there's no one needs to ever defend that. It's much better and much more healthier than watching stuff to be mad about it, which is like, I'm trying to, I'm really in a weird spot right now in that I'm doing good. I feel good, and my stuff, like my career, God almighty, is going well. Like, people are really fucking with the stuff we're doing, which I appreciate. But I'm still figuring out the best relationship to have with wrestling, and it's like, because you're one of my best friends, I've had some weird experiences in that regard because you can get too close to it, and I'd never wanted to get close to it, but sometimes you get close and you say maybe I'll stay here for a little bit, and then next thing you know, let me get away. So I'm really trying to figure out the best way to consume this stuff is, but last night was one where like, if nothing else, I allowed myself to get swept up in last night. You know, I was rooting for Sting, I was rooting for FTR, I was rooting for the guys like Eddie Kingston. It's like that is still the correct, proper way to watch professional wrestling, folks.
Yep.
Root for people, man. Take the ride, go for it. It's fucking awesome.
The big thing that I am getting, and look, again, there's stuff that I know that sometimes I wish I didn't. Sometimes, sometimes it's cool.
Yeah,
but
it can be lame, yeah.
I try really hard now. Try to hard is not even the right way to put it. It's just the way I don't go into shows looking to nitpick them. If something was good, I don't care that they could have done something better. It was good, so I'm happy. Right. Which again, I'm not, and I'm not telling anyone to do things. I'm not gonna the way I do them, but I'm not gonna pretend something that was bad was good. I'm not one of those people. I'm never gonna do that. If I thought something sucked, I'm gonna say it sucked. You know that. Like, you've gotten those text messages before, but I am not looking for
it's an outlook thing
to be mad. Yeah, like I want to enjoy this show. Like, look, hilariously, those few months where we can all admit now that AEW was bad, even then I hate it more in retrospect than I did at the time. I mean, I wasn't happy, but I wasn't like miserable and like, oh, I don't even want to watch the show. I never got to that level. But once you got back to more what AEW should be, it made it even more glaring how much that was
they'd lost their way.
They'd lost the plot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like I get enjoyment out of being analytical and stuff, but I'm definitely trying to be. I don't know. I'm trying to find the healthy balance, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's like wrestling is, I think if you're watching this, you'll get what I mean by this, even though it's an insane thing to say out loud. If you're watching this, you're guilty too. Wrestling's a big part of our lives, man. I mean, it means a lot. We watch a lot of it, and when wrestling's great, it's like it can like actually like improve our day and shit like that. Like, but you have to be, cautious of it like consuming you. I came back on today after I watched the show, and like some of the stuff I read, I'm being completely transparent. Like I can't believe some of the shit that was debated today and yesterday, and all of that stuff. Like, guys, you gotta let yourself enjoy this shit, man. Like, don't get caught up debating with people that you have no respect for because they're mad about saying you don't care about. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to do discourse commentary because like neither of us give a fuck. But you know what I'm saying, right? It's like
I've been there.
To like let yourself love it. I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know.
Like, I've been there. I've been where like I like something and then people are shitting on it and it kind of ruins it for you. I refuse to let that happen anymore. Like,
it's just not worth it.
If I look, and I'm be very clear. If you watched that Ospreay Takeshita match last night and you didn't like it, cool. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying for me personally, I don't care that you didn't like it because I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's that simple. Like,
it's
fine because you have to remember in pro wrestling, no one is ever technically wrong. Now, obviously, there's qualifiers to that, and we see stuff tweeted all the time that's pretty clearly wrong. But
as long as someone's not, basically the point is, as long as someone's not being a dick and it's just what they think, God bless, bro.
Like if you watch that Ospreay match and why aren't they selling anything? This is horse shit. That's a valid opinion.
Some of our friends feel that way. That's fine. I'm cool with that.
Like, I'm sure that Oracle didn't love the match.
He did not.
Like, I talked to someone.
But he loved the show,
Yeah. Like, I was and look, I won't even put names out there, even though I don't even think he'd care. I was DMing someone during the show, and he was like, "That Ospreay match didn't do anything for me," and I immediately was like, "Well, I knew it wouldn't." That's cool, like,
yeah.
But he's also at the same time, he's able to recognize that it did do something for a lot of people, and that's all you got to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's not for me, but it's so goddamn over. It's like perfect. Look, put it this way: WWE is not for me, But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's not red hot right now. And I get why people are excited. It's just not for me. That's all it is. It's not that hard. You don't have to get worked up about it and fight with each other and let it
Everyone
ruin
just
your
needs
day.
to chill. Yeah, that's the main thing. So everyone just chill out and like.
And here's the other thing, Joe, and this is a real thing. If you actually enjoy arguing about this stuff, cool.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that is not us. That's not us. But if you're someone
I don't buy it, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. But like, look, I'm not even because, and I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not knocking him, and I don't know if he'll see it. I think he knows I'm not knocking him because I've done it before too. Bobby has let the discourse at times ruin his enjoyment of wrestling. He would admit that. I think he's got, but yeah, like he's like wrestling sucks. And it's like, no, bro, wrestling doesn't suck.
Just log
the
off.
tweets you're reading about wrestling suck. Like, you know, this shit's supposed to be fun, man. Like,
it is. That's the point. I apologize, folks, if we detoured a few times here, but the point we're making is we like, personally, my friend Matt and I, we like professional wrestling, right? And we seem to think it's likely that you, if you're watching this, you probably like it too.
Yeah.
Most likely, right? And that doesn't mean you have to like all of it. And God forbid, you don't have to enjoy all wrestling.
Oh, please don't be one of those people.
You don't have to make a show of being positive. It just means, you know, maybe just try and focus on the things you like about it a little more.
Yeah.
And have fun with it. That's all we're saying. And we all could do better at that. And with that, our moral point of the day is concluded.
God, we're
personally,
idiots.
Yeah, this is my fault because I'm like in that space. I'm in that headspace right now.
No,
anyway.
I mean, it's, yeah.
I finished the pay-per-view and I was like, I've been watching wrestling wrong my whole life. You know, I was in that mood. You know,
look, for those of you who've been watching this shit since we started it, I think you can see the shift from. Yeah, there was a time when we spent half the show talking about Twitter, directly or indirectly.
We got better.
We've gotten better.
We got better. Yeah, man, absolutely. Anyway,
wrestling rules, man. Like,
it's fucking awesome, man.
Sometimes it sucks, but
which is why it's awesome.
Yes, but when wrestling is at its best, and it like that Sting match last night was wrestling at its best.
Wrestling done right.
Wrestling done right. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
There's not. It's weirdly moving when it's great. It's strange.
There's something about being, you know, a 42-year-old balding dude who doesn't love his job and, you know, is just kind of, I mean, I'm not in any way trying to say I'm bad off but you know, there's something about being able to go to the Greensboro Coliseum and
stand next to David Crockett.
and pick some confetti up and put it in your pocket and
enjoy yourself
and be 10 years old again for a few minutes and you know and fire out of your chair with your fists in the air because Eddie Kingston beat Bryan Danielson and chant fuck the Young Bucks and you know
chant FTR.
Yeah, chant FTR and you know
that's the drug, bro.
Chant fuck the Young Bucks in the context of the wrestling show for once. And
that's the drug we're chasing.
Yeah.
That thrill, that excitement. And
you know, hearing the entire building yell Swerve's house and boo Hangman Adam Page out of the building when you know that most of the people in that building actually love Hangman Adam Page. And, you know, seeing Christian Cage, who, you know, I watched in 1999 when I was still in high school and see him still out there being awesome and seeing Daniel Garcia, whose AEW career seemed dead in the water 5 months ago.
Scary. Yeah.
And now he's revitalized and, you know, like there's a magic to it, man. Seeing Roddy Strong who there were times when we were wondering if we'd ever see him wrestle again, honestly, for either because of injuries or
He's
for
a lot
other
of
reasons.
times,
Yeah. And all of a sudden, he's the international champion. See Kyle O'Reilly, who we really
that
thought,
was cool.
yeah, see him come back. Like, there's a magic to professional wrestling, man. And look,
there's something romantic about it, man. I dare I say.
And look, none of you guys do it because you wouldn't be watching this fucking show if you did. But there's nothing wrong with just admitting that you love professional wrestling.
Oh, mate, it's a sickness, isn't it?
Yeah.
You gotta just embrace it.
Do not, if you watch fucking 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of pro wrestling every week, just accept that you're a freak.
Yes, and you have to polish what version of freak you are. You know,
right?
You can't win anymore, folks.
There's nothing.
You have
there's
to
nothing
embrace
worse.
this way of defeat.
Do not watch 8 hours of wrestling every week and then pretend that you're too cool for like. Then why are you know what I mean? Like that's sad. Like,
yeah, we're all fucked. Yeah, I closed Worldwide tonight by informing the team that when they recommend WWE TV matches to me now, I watch fan cams, like, because I don't like the commentary. And everyone's replied about how much of a freak I'm. Like, yep, I am. I've embraced it. You're not far behind, folks. You'll be right there with me soon enough.
My wife had basically never seen professional wrestling when she met me, and she teared up with Sting last night, and I didn't.
Wow.
She when Sting, I mean, she watched Sting in WWE. She didn't care.
Of course. She doesn't like old wrestlers either.
Not really. No, not for the most part. She's getting a little better about that, though. She likes Christian.
Getting used to it.
Yeah. She did not care about Sting for. I think I've never actually asked her, but I think Sting doing all that crazy shit.
Yeah.
Won her over.
Daredevil Sting.
Yeah, but she was pretty fired. And look, I can update everyone that it was officially announced to me today that Will Ospreay is her favorite wrestler now. So
big news for Great Britain.
Apologies to John Moxley and/or Buddy Matthews. Will Ospreay is now number 1.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Was Moxley still the reigning champ?
I think so.
Buddy's lost it a while ago, right?
Yeah. She likes Buddy. He doesn't wrestle enough to.
Nah. Yeah. Just like me, for real. I like Buddy. He just doesn't wrestle enough.
God, I would just, like, if he wrestled every week,
he would be awesome with it. He's been more. To be fair, we've been getting treated better recently.
Yeah.
As Bud Matt losers, like that FTR stuff, we got pretty good run of it there, right? You got some 6-mans. It was cool.
I'm with you though. I thought we were getting a nice little Bud Matt squash at least or something on Saturday. But we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that match though. So there's nothing to complain about.
There's only so many Blake and Murphy matches I can rewatch, man. You know.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them, and I've run them back like 15 times now. So you've seen Kalisto. I'm like, fuck. Can we get some new fucking food? Good God.
I would put Buddy and Brody in that tag tournament, man. The two good ones in that group.
Come on, he's all right.
Oh, he's Pac's coming back too.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of got lost in the show. It was hard for us to hear it where we were.
He should wrestle really strong for the international title.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Or Samoa Joe for the AEW World title.
Yeah.
Or Christian Cage for the AEW TNT title. One of those.
Yeah.
All right.
You know who else he could wrestle? Eddie Kingston.
For the Triple Crown title?
Yeah. Joe, have you really like? I'm sure you've thought about it, but like, can we really just take a moment to sit here and appreciate that right now, Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston, and Roderick Strong?
Oh yeah,
our champions in AEW. Like,
brother, I'm fully aware of what's happened here.
And Christian Cage. Yeah, this is Joe Holbert Promotions.
I'm fully aware of what's happened here. I'm understanding of the moment in terms of the world adjusting to me being correct. This has never happened before. It's very cool.
You know, I talk to you every day pretty much. And it's just now dawning on me that you might talk to Tony Khan every day and I don't know it. Because there's some signs that yeah.
Cody asks, who do you think Eddie faces at Supercard?
That's a good question.
Buddy Matthews?
Who should Eddie face at Supercard?
That's a really good question, to be fair. We need a heel. Who's a heel we can work with? Upper card heel. We try depth charts.
Yeah. We haven't done that in a while.
I was going to stay that way. The last time we did depth charts, it killed the late night Grin.
How about Hechicero?
My God, that'd be an interesting style.
Gabe Kidd.
Kiwi, correct answer. Quarter.
Miro ain't showing up for that match, bro. Come on.
He actually, honestly, he might. He genuinely might. Him and King had a really good one that last time. Remember?
Days? That match fucking ruled.
Yeah.
I forgot about that match completely.
Dude, that match is awesome, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, like, you could have him back up Briscoe and set up one of the hustles. You could actually do Brody. Brody would probably be, and I'm not even like a huge fan, but like Brody would be.
Didn't they wrestle in the tournament?
Yeah. Yes, they did. There was the opening match. Brody beat him.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, there you go. We just booked it.
Literally. I'm looking here for heels.
We need the shot of Joe holding a legal pad and a pencil.
There's not really anyone else that's jumping out to me. I mean, Van Dam's going to be on that show, but in a different spot.
Honestly, it's hard to even.
I got it. Roosh.
Oh, man.
Roosh. That's the match. That's it. Former Ring of Honor champ.
I'm in.
Great styles matchup. Roosh and Eddie Kingston.
I don't know that I've admitted it publicly, but I haven't watched Ring of Honor in weeks now.
That's actually kind of disrespectful, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, genuinely what happened is there was a couple of Ohio State women's basketball games on Thursday nights, and so we missed a couple episodes, and we just never went back. I watched Athena and Nyla, excuse me.
Very different match.
Yeah, that was my apologies to both.
Yeah.
Like that match a lot. I will be back for Queen Aminata and Red Velvet.
That show is fucking insane, dude.
Yeah.
I am pretty deep in the wrestling bubble, and I watched the Athena Nyla match also because it's Athena, but like it's like it doesn't the show doesn't exist. It's fucked.
Yeah. I don't know who's so it's I think I may have no one here watches this, maybe except Kiwi, maybe. I apologize to Kiwi. I don't think Red Velvet winning has aired yet. One of them winning hasn't aired yet, I don't think. Either Queen Aminata or Red Velvet.
We did a WCW tribute spot before we got out here.
Yeah. And then the other side is, I don't remember who Billy wrestled. I can't remember who Billy's wrestling. And then it's Abaddon and Mercedes Martinez. So it's like, I don't know. I assume Abaddon's probably going to win that match.
That'd be a shame.
But there is the potential Final Four is Billy versus Mercedes and Aminata versus Red Velvet.
Billy and Mercedes would be pretty good, yeah.
I mean, I think I'll be stunned if Billy doesn't win the tournament. But Queen Aminata's probably, I guess, could win it.
It's hard, isn't it? Because it can be a bit of an albatross, can't it, in some ways?
Yeah.
It's like, if I was booking, Queen would be just all over the TV. I think she's a star.
Yeah. I think Billy.
Billy would be my choice. But
Billy and Athena should probably move that act up to AEW. But
yeah, it's a real shame if you could just, if we just imagine that Athena's Ring of Honor title reign was actually an AEW, imagine having Mercedes walk into that rather than.
Yeah,
it's a shame. Like,
It's
That
just
would feel like a main event, wouldn't it?
the Athena Lexi Billy dynamic would work on Rampage. I'm not sure I would. I honestly not sure I would do it on Dynamite or at Collision. You probably can because nobody watches anyway. But
I'd probably like simplify Athena's presentation a lot for EWTV.
yeah,
I'd actually just have her go back to like the original version of it where she's just like a hillbilly. Because if you're going to build to a Mercedes match, I mean, that's the most money way, right?
right.
I would have her do a squash on TV where she fucking kills some poor lady. get some poor local in to get the shit kicked out of them.
They've got look. Their women's roster suddenly has got some real depth to it, man. Like, we'll see what happens. It's like Megan's probably coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she is coming in. We just don't know when or where. Obviously, Mercedes is coming in. Amanada's been a revelation. Mariah May looks like a foundational piece. Billy's ceiling is incredible.
Yep.
Like, plus, I mean, there's tons of people. I mean, Deanna's, she's going to turn heel at some point, and that's going to raise her stock tremendously immediately. There's some issues, but I'll be interested to see. I'm of the opinion this isn't. I saw that. I'm of the opinion that by the end of the year they're going to have their own show, probably on streaming. Yes, it'll be on a streaming service wherever, whether that's Max or this sports thing or whatever it's going to be. Which is going to be awesome because Mercedes is going to get all the credit for it when Tony's been trying to get it for 2 years now. But yeah, look, I'm not even not good for her. Like, honestly,
awesome.
Honestly, she still deserves the credit for it because they couldn't get it and her
until So she's a massive star, bro. It's a big deal for them. She is transformative for that pitch, to be fair. Like,
100%, yeah.
I'm always somewhat hesitant about it because you don't want to do the 205 thing where it's like they just like get put over there.
That's the big thing for me is that they
can't do that, man.
There are potential issues with it.
Yeah.
But if their usage doesn't change on the main shows, then it's a great thing to.
Yeah. It should be a vehicle mostly for like the undercard to find itself and do feuds and stuff, And
you can flesh stuff out a little bit better.
Yeah.
And, but we'll see what happens. We've had this conversation a million times. I do think the women's division is making strides. There are some issues with the champions that can be limiting, but there's definitely, you can tell there's more investment in it. Whether it's enough for you personally is
the big test is Mercedes anyway.
Yeah.
It's like we'll see. If they fuck that up, then they deserve the criticism they get.
Right.
But
100%.
It's like that's the big test now. They've made some nice steps.
That's the chance to make it. I think she's going to be treated like a centerpiece. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think she's going to be treated like a centerpiece.
I do too.
Not just of the women's division. I think of like the whole promotion.
Yeah, she probably should be. I think there's versions of the partnership that could definitely go awry. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
And
him shouting out Stephanie last night was promising too. That he wants to use her.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she is.
Did you see Michael Cole shout out Sting?
Yeah, that was cool.
Same night that I was talking about, like, how all the promotions should reference each other. Michael Cole just immediately fucking dunked on me.
That's cool.
I can't get anything right, bro.
The good brother, Contrarian Alex, actually texted me to tell me about that.
Huh?
So, yeah.
Shout out to Alex. He was quite extraordinary on Gal Kim Grin Grappler the other week, man.
God bless, man.
Strict road agenting I gave him. Very good.
He's a good dude.
He's all right, yeah.
He sent me a text message today asking if we got back okay.
Did he really?
He's the only person who did that.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I was still watching Christian Cage by the time you were. I got back on my phone at 9 p.m. my time, so I think I could cut some slack on that. But
I
yeah.
did get a House Horseman country text from you this weekend,
Yeah.
which
Didn't
I
have to
had
do
no
that,
real
man.
answer to because
Yeah. I
like
was giving Chuck shit about it. We did a show. She was in Greensboro, and I was like, "How many people have come up to you and thrown the 4 up?" Yeah, because to me, the only knowledge I have of that place is, oh yeah, the Horseman. Crockett, brother, let's go.
I know
Yeah.
I should have tried to meet up with her and done the big
Don't
late
worry
night
about
Grin
it.
Wrestle Purist.
Poor Charlie's been about 8 of the same shows as I have. I've never
Yeah.
once.
Oh, I'm
I don't. I'm like Batman at wrestling shows, bro. No one sees
I'm
me.
terrible about that stuff. I saw Good Brother Hester. This is actually really funny. This will be probably the end of the show, but I you know, we actually tweeted each other a couple times at the show, like in the building, but we didn't meet up or anything. And then we were going to leave this morning, the hotel, and we go to get on the elevator, and there's Hester.
There you go.
We were on the same floor of the same hotel, so we got to say hi for a minute. But yeah, I'm terrible about that stuff, man. My natural disposition is to assume that no one wants to meet up with me. So unless they ask me to do it, I don't really say anything.
I tried to be when we were in Chicago. I tried to be good about it because I knew I wouldn't be back like for a while anyway. It was very funny. I missed the entire. Remember what was the match I missed?
Oh, when it was
I was
when
just
it
I was
0
making
hour though?
towns. No, there was a match on the main card. I was watching the
I
other
don't
day. Fuck.
remember.
TNT title.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you weren't the only one who missed that match. Alex left for that one.
Darby and Luchasaurus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Because yeah,
I was making towns.
you and Alex both disappeared for that one.
Yeah, we were not doing drugs or anything, folks. I was taking pictures. Alex was doing drugs. I wasn't.
Yeah.
That
match ruled, actually.
I heard it was good. I watched it on Blu-ray. It was pretty good. All right. Do you have any plugs?
No. I already told everyone to go to my wife's Twitter account. They're hugging on Twitter. Follow her. She probably won't follow you back because she doesn't pay attention to Twitter. But yeah, that's about it. Don't follow me on Twitter.
Yeah,
you're not missing anything. Unless you like one sentence tweets out of context, or if you aren't watching the wrestling show at the time, then it doesn't make any sense. And then a bunch of tweets about Ohio State women's basketball.
There's going to be a lot of WNBA tweets going.
Yeah,
late night
we can plug that. Like, did you see that news tonight? Did you see that DM that
No.
It looks like Toronto's probably going to get an expansion team, so now I'm very torn on what to do fan-wise.
You got to do the Toronto thing. You have to.
I think I got to just follow the league for now and wait for Toronto to come in so I can root. It's actually not even going to be. It's not the Raptors ownership. It's a different. So, but yeah, that should be pretty cool. Let's just go down the rabbit hole because it's with the show's ending anyway. So if you want to leave, go ahead and leave.
Before you do though, LNG 100 March 15th.
Yeah.
See you there. Carry on, Matt.
It's going to be a transformative few years for the WNBA. And if I'm wrong, then hilarious. You don't care anyway, so it won't matter. But things are about to change. Caitlin Clark's about to change the game. And look, I'm not a huge fan right now. Ohio State just lost to them yesterday. But once she's in the league, then the conference rivalry's over and I can root for her. But it's one of those perfect storm situations. If you care at all remotely, it's fun to watch a perfect storm happen in real time. And it's a perfect storm because she's about to change the game popularity-wise. Their TV deal's up after next year. The CBA's up after next year. These women are about to be making a lot more money, which they should be. The NBA. Look, the NBA players make 51% of the league revenue. WNBA players make 9% of the league revenue. Things are about to change. It's a fast look, man. I'm not trying to convince. Half you guys probably don't like sports at all anyway. For those of you that do, you may not care about women's basketball, but if you do, it's a good time to get in and be on the ground floor of what's about to happen. Probably not even the ground floor. That's probably not right. Second floor maybe, but these next few years are going to be transformative. You're going to start. I think within the next 10 years, you're going to see probably 8 more teams in that league. Players are making a lot more money. TV ratings are going to go up. Attendance is going up. It's fun. It's a fun time, man. Like, I'm more into the college game right now because I'm a season ticket holder for Ohio State. If you haven't noticed, or my annoying ass tweets that no one cares about, but yeah, it's going to be.
This is like a wholehearted endorsement that also somewhat felt like you was doing the Papa John thing of threatening people. Things are going to change.
It's a blast, man. Like, if you haven't watched women's basketball in a while, it's very different than what you probably remember it as being. Because in 1993, Ohio State made the national championship game, and my dad and I kind of got into it then. The game has changed from then to now. It's awesome. It's good basketball, spacing. Joe, what I know about you, Joe, and this I could end up being totally wrong about this, but I believe that you doing this WNBA deep dive that you seem to be committed to doing, and you start watching these games, that you're going to become a bit of a sicko about this shit.
Oh, yeah, I'm concerned. It's very concerning. You shouldn't have done this to me, really. No, my personality is.
Because I have a feeling that I'm going to get text messages like, this is how basketball should be played.
We're talking about like collision.
Yeah. And then, of course, you immediately pick the Dallas Wings, which is just an incredible...
It's a team called Wings, bro. It's fucking crazy.
So yeah, get ready for that, because we're all going to...
That will be our monthly Grin the last, 10 minutes. That will probably be just that, when Dukes is on, especially.
Yeah, and Bobby went through it was actually a fun experience with Bob, because he's like, I don't know who to root for, the Sky or Bad. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, Bob worked for the Sky for a year. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, this motherfucker worked for the team.
Wait, what are you talking? When? How? Why?
I don't know the timeline, but yeah, he worked, I think, in PR or something. He worked for the Sky for a year.
What the fuck is... Bob has lived 4 different lives, dude.
Don't quote me on the PR part, but I know he worked for the Sky for a season.
Was he the power forward? What the fuck?
He might have been. But anyway, long story short, this all ended in Bob deciding that he was going to root for the Sky.
He's easily swayed, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. Anyway, guys, go ahead and at Bob and ask him about him working with the Chicago Sky.
Okay.
I swear to God, I'm not making that up.
We at some point need to actually just for once and for all lock in on who Bob has been and what he's done.
Bob lore episode.
Because I'm losing, bro. People keep bringing up these mystery tales of yes. I don't know. Yeah. It's impossible. I don't get it.
We should do a show where you interview Bob.
We should.
And I'll just kind of be here.
The 32 with Joe Holbrook.
Yeah.
Interview him like I've never met him before.
Us never paying that bid off is honestly the perfect payoff to that bid.
The 31 was an arc completed. It was we did enough. Yeah.
We plugged the 32 coming soon and then just never delivered it. Beast.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, Bob worked for the Chicago Sky for a year.
Yeah. He was the point guard.
If you want to know what year it was, I have no idea. If you want to know what his job was, I have no idea.
Ask him.
But
easy to find, folks.
At Robert O'Neill 31.
Oh, that one, yeah. Okay.
WNBA, watch it. $25 for the league pass, folks.
That and also LNG 100.
Yeah.
Which there is a surprise on LNG 100 that the gentleman who's sharing the screen with me right now is not aware of.
I don't know it, yeah. I don't know anything about this late night.
One person in the Grinner Circle knows it. No one else in the community knows it.
That makes
actual surprise. Angry. When it happens, when it appears on the screen, you'll see a genuine reaction from the people.
Are you going to do the thing where you play it where you can see us in the corner?
It's not going to be that, but how do I put this? The way the video is formed, you'll be able to see most of the screen.
Okay.
I
just remembered that it's in the StreamYard. I'm glad I didn't look.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to say it because if you keep saying it, it's like you almost want to do it, right? It's horrible. It's a weird thing. So
you missed WNBA talk.
Yeah, there was there's a cool surprise. There's a major announcement on LNG 100. There's, I believe, 5 moments in the show where we're just going to stop the show to play our greatest hits, which is the most late night Grin thing ever.
We're going to get fucking rest.
Alex is going to be. We're not going to do anything on the show other than just watch our own stuff and play videos. Alex is going to be there. Jack is going to be there after telling me that I need to invite him. Like I'm fucking. Anyway, enough about that. Manny the Hooper did the same bit. He's there.
Yeah, same day they did it.
Same day.
Manny did it on his birthday though, so he gets a pass.
Fuck him. So everyone's going to be there. LNG 100 March 15th. Major announcement. With that.
Oh, one more thing. I did at Hobo Takes on Twitter. It's his birthday today. If everyone can add him at Hobo Takes and that's at HOBOTAKES and just put happy birthday. I would really appreciate that. That's one of my good friends.
At Hobo Takes, folks. There you go. All right. And with that, I have been Joey Bing Bong. That has been Matty Bullets. And
what a show.
It was whole shit, as it should be, as God intended. Enjoy this outro. Keep grinning. If you're watching on the YouTubes, like and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, do something there. Either way, have a great night, everyone. All hell.